Welcome along to Spa-Francorchamps, a circuit that always delivers action and drama. We're here for round 5 and 6 of the 2018 LMP3 Cup. This is how the championship looks coming into this weekend. Tony Wells and Colin Noble extend their lead at the top of the championship, courtesy of their double win at Brands Hatch. They now lead Donington Park Race 2 winners, Bradley Smith and Duncan Williams, by 21 points, with Red River Sport duo Bonamy Grimes and Johnny Molam in 3rd place, 6 points behind the Mectec Motorsport Norma. Christian Olsen is still 4th after winning the opening round of the year. In 5th place is the Speedworks Motorsport Ligier of Jack Butel and Dominic Paul, who'll be looking to get their championship back on track after a crash in qualifying at Brands ruled them out of race 4. United Auto Sports are absent due to Le Mans preparations, and Matt Bell leads the way in the P4 class but isn't eligible for championship points. After qualifying, we caught up with the top 3, so let's hear what they had to say.
Qualifying was still a bit of an adventure after only a wet session yesterday, so we're still getting up to speed. Yeah, it's taken a long time to understand the new car, and we've had very little testing. The weather's been against us in the UK, and yeah, we're still learning the car. Bradley can get it straight away, takes me longer. Proper sense of occasion, you're out there where the greats have driven in years gone by, and yeah, very special circuit.
Yeah, it was a pretty good session. It was damp in places, and we only got, I think, 7 minutes driving yesterday when it was wet. So I'd never driven one of these cars in Spa before, really. But it was great fun actually, and I think potentially we could have had pole. We got bulked on the last lap quite heavily, so I lost at least a minute. I lost a little bit of time, but it was close at the front end, which was good, and. The Speedworks guys have done a great job getting the car ready, so I think we're ready for the race. Yeah, I'll start the race, and we just have to, it's an hour, it's a 50-minute race here actually. We've got the GT Cup cars there as well, so there's going to be quite a bit of traffic, I think. Just try and keep it clean, and I'll do as quick a stint as I can, and then hand over to Jack for the second stint.
Yeah, it was awesome, that, wasn't it? So, I mean, the car was nice, totally nice balance and everything. Went out, it was very wet at the top of Lake Com, through almost down to that no-name left-hander before Pouan. And then after that, it was completely bone dry, so you had to be careful. And I guess, we were slightly cautious through the top section, even through the whole session. But an 18.0, car was nailed, got a few decent laps. I tried to go flat through a Rouge on the last lap, and I took too much curb on the left and had a bit of a wiggle through the bit, cost us a couple of tenths. But other than that, car was good, got pole. I guess Dominic would have been a bit closer if there was some traffic, I think, but I think we're all right.
Cars cross the line and get race 1 underway. There's contact into the first corner. Duncan Williams spins. So Tony Wells leads in the Nielsen Racing and Coria Cost car, with teammate Bonamy Grimes in 2nd place, taking a very wide line into the source. The LMP3 Cup is racing at the same time as the GT Cup this weekend, so Duncan Williams has to wait for the entire field to pass before he can rejoin. Tony Wells has opened up a good gap on the opening laps, but the Speedworks car of Dominic Paul is challenging Bonamy Grimes to 2nd place. At the end of the lap, Duncan Williams opts to pit. Paul pulls off a brilliant move to pass Bonamy Grimes, who is determined to try and get the position back. Unfortunately though for Bonamy Grimes, resulted in pushing too hard as he had a spin. Are on the timing screen. Can Johnny Molam overhaul Jack Butel, who has taken over the Speedworks seat? Johnny makes the move into Francorchamps to secure the place and second overall. Noble takes the checkered flag and win number 3 of the season, with Johnny Molam and Bonamy Grimes in second place, and the Speedworks Motorsport car of Dominic Paul and Jack Butel take their first podium of the 2018 season.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing to race here, and the LMP3 is fantastic around Spa. So I think I had an okay start, but I got clouted by the Norma, by Duncan on the first corner, and that pushed me out onto the curbs. So I went into third place then, and I was behind Bon, so I was behind him for a lap, and then I managed to overtake him going through Eau Rouge, which was quite exciting, but it's what you should do when you're at Spa. And then I got into second place, and I was just trying to catch Tony, and I think I closed the gap right down to about 8 seconds. But not quite enough to catch him, and then I handed it into Jack. The problem is when I got hit by the Norma, it put the tyre off the rim. So when Jack got into the car was not handling very well.
So yeah, we went out. Dom obviously said there was a vibration, so the guys had a look around the car and obviously saw nothing wrong with the tyres. So we went out, and straight away I knew that there was a problem. So I just had to do the best to keep in front of Johnny. And yeah, unfortunately it was just not enough. The car was just couldn't get it to do what it wanted to do, and yeah, it ended up losing second place, and yeah, brought home third. So.
Yeah, it was a good result. It was quite an exciting race. I had a really good start, went around the outside. I think there was a bit of contact behind me, which gave me a bit of a break. The car doesn't feel good at the moment. We lost our engineer. He's unfortunately had some problem with his feet on Friday, so we've been struggling and trying to kind of catch up and get a setup on the car, so we're still not completely comfortable with it. But so I managed to keep Dom behind me for a little while, and I went toe-to-toe with him up Eau Rouge the first time, and I thought the second time I'll just back out and let him go and try and hang on. So and then it was just a question of trying to get my lap times down and keep consistent and hang the car over to Johnny, which we did. I think they lost a bit of time in the pits, which helped us as well, but then Johnny did a sterling effort and managed to get Jack in his stint. So on the whole we did well. Another Nielsen 1-2. The team have been fantastic, so great. And of course Johnny's coaching has been invaluable once again, so Red River Sport have been fantastic. So.
Yeah, I mean, we got in, we had quite a big gap to second, so I wasn't sure if I'd be able to get it down. And like Bon says, the first time Bon drove in the dry here was qualifying. The first time I've ever driven this car in the dry here was in the race just then, so we had no idea what setup we had on the car. And like Bon said, it wasn't the best. It got your attention through Eau Rouge, that's for sure. I wasn't able to go flat through Eau Rouge, which was frustrating. But managed to take second place. I think Jack and Don Paul had a problem maybe or something, and he was through traffic. I just caught him and passed him, and then I just cruised it to the end. Now we've got to sit down, put our heads together, get Bon and I sorted out, get the car much sweeter set up, and then we'll be able to be more competitive tomorrow. But fantastic result, second. I mean, that's 3 second places on the trot now, beginning to definitely want a win next.
Well, from my point of view, it was pretty uneventful. I sort of braked into turn one, turned, and then accelerated off. Apparently, I almost got taken out, but and when I looked in the mirrors, I could see the Norma had spun, and then the other two guys were battling together. So it all looked a bit exciting, and I was happy to be a couple of seconds down the road at that point. After that, car was all right, just got my head down and pulled a bit of a gap, and then through the traffic you lose quite a lot of time sometimes, and when I lapped the Norma I lost a fair bit of time behind him and the Ferrari, but anyway, we were in the lead, handed to Colin. Colin smashed it, fastest lap, and we won.
Tony had a very good first stint. He made it pretty easy to me. There wasn't too much pressure on me getting in. He'd given me the big lead, so I just had to hold on to that lead and bring it home.
Well, the first LMP3 Cup of the weekend certainly delivered on the action, so join us for some more from Spa-Francorchamps after the break. Welcome back to the LMP3 Cup from Spa. After a brilliant race one, we're all set to go with round 6. But before that, we're going to head for an onboard lap. All of the cars were able to get some practice in on a very wet track on Friday morning. And after the session, we caught up with Red River Sport driver Bonamy Grimes, who took us on a guided tour of the 7-kilometre, 19-turn circuit.
So this is free practice one at Spa. It's part of the LMP3 Cup. I'm going to talk you around a lap of Spa in the wet in an LMP3. It's a Ligier car. It's my first time round Spa in this car, so it's quite a handful. No ABS, no traction control. So I'll talk you through and see how we go. Okay, so this is the final chicane. So we're going to come on to the start, finish straight here. It's important to get a really good exit out of this corner. The traction is a little bit tricky out of there. Clean run all the way through to La Source. La Source is a heavy braking corner. In the wet, you don't want to take the inside line, you want to take a wet line. Spa is fantastic for taking wet lines. It's a classic circuit for doing for driving in the wet and taking the wet lines. So we're now going to go down to the very famous Eau Rouge. So you're going to hug the old pit wall on the right hand side, and quite late come over to the left. In the dry, you take a lot of that curb. Drop down to 4th gear, back on the power, a little bit gingerly up here in this level of water. We have a river going across the track here, so I did a bit of a lift there, and then back onto full power to the end of the straight, where we're going to brake hard for Les Coons. This is a tricky little corner, down a few gears. I think we take this in 2nd or 3rd, depending on whether it's dry or wet. You want to keep to the left on the 2nd part of the corner, because you want to set yourself up for the next right-hander. So it's just a small lift, a bit of understeer, washing out slightly, back on the power, and then we're going downhill for this next corner, which is it's a tight right. You've got to be really, really patient. There's a lot of understeer on this corner, so you've got to wait, and then get on the power as much as you can over to the left. Again, we've got another corner here. Understeer is a problem here, but it grips up on the right-hand side there, where the rubber isn't on the track. Now we're going downhill, very, very fast corner, very famous corner called Pouin. You really want to make this one corner, it's a double apex corner, but you want to do minimal steering changes through it. And the second half of the corner you want to be flat, so you're trying to push as hard as possible out of here. Again, into the next right-hander, next chicane we've got a bit of water, so it's tricky braking there. We've got the right-hander, you want to carry and float as much speed through, and again keeping to the right so you can get a good exit here, pushing all the way out to the right-hand side. Before we come to the next right-hander, which is a tricky one because we've got a river running through in 2 places, on the entry and the exit, and then you're trying to get on the power again. This is a critical corner to get a really fast lap. In the dry that would be flat, and then we're flat all the way through to the end of the circuit. In the wet we'll take a little bit of a lift through the final left-hander, so it's really fast. This is absolutely flat. Even in the wet we're going flat, and we're doing a bit of a lift, a small dab on the brakes, and then we're back on the power as much as possible. As I say, in the dry we'd be flat right the way through there, right the way up through to the final chicane. Braking for the final chicane's tricky in the wet. I outbraked myself a couple of times, locked the fronts, but you got a bit of runoff there, so it's okay. Keep to the right and try and get a really good exit to bring us back out onto the start-finish straight and complete a lap of Spa.
As the cars thunder across the line, it's a clean start for all, but clearly Dominic Paul is feeling racy and looking to try and make a move around the outside at turn number 1. The LMP3 Cup is once again racing with the cars from the GT Cup as they head through Eau Rouge for the first time. But he spins out, allowing Dominic Paul to take not 1 but 2 places as Duncan Williams also runs wide. Tony Wells leads, but Dominic Paul has closed the gap in his Speedworks Motorsport Rod Ligier and is looking to try and take the lead. Down to the bus stop chicane, he's trying every which way on the fast approach, but as he jigs to the left to make a move, it seems like Tony Wells has got a problem as he makes his way into the pits. Dominic Paul is going well as he goes through Eau Rouge, but the car steps out at the top of the hill, collides with the barriers at Ardennes. It's a heavy impact, he's fine, the safety car comes out to rescue the stranded car. The race resuming is Bradley Smith in the Metec Motorsport Norma, who leads the race, comes through the final corner to take the checkered flag and the win. Tony Wells and Colin Noble finish in second, with Bonamy Grimes and Johnny Molan in third. Bonamy will be hoping to take this run of success at Spa into the Road to Le Mans race in the build-up to the famous 24-hour race in mid-June.
We were struggling a bit yesterday with understeer in the car, chronic understeer, so we made a lot of changes overnight and we didn't have any testing this morning to try them out, so we had a very different car today, so it was very we had a lot of turn-in oversteer, which caught me out on the lap 1 going into Pouhon, so I spun and then flat spotted my tyres, unfortunately. So it was then we were just chasing our tail all the way through the day, really. I've had better days.
Bon's right, the car was extremely tricky to drive, especially through Eau Rouge. I was slower than I was yesterday, and we were struggling with understeer yesterday, chronic understeer. So I was probably losing 2-3 tenths to our sister car through the first sector. But then the middle sector was just evil, so we just need to get to the bottom. We think there might be a power steering rack issue, and coupled to maybe even a damper issue. So I think Bon did well actually to keep it on the track after his initial spin. So all in all, I think it's a positive weekend. Yesterday second place, today third place. and Bond's actually a lot more time in the dry now driving this car around Spa, because obviously as of qualifying he'd never driven this car around here. So although it is a tough weekend, these are the weekends that you probably learn the most from. So we'll move forwards, and the next one's Le Mans, so really looking forward to that. I'm not driving, but Bon and Iva will be, so Red River Sport will be there with bells on.
I hope to get a better setup on the car, so we've got a nice docile, or, well, quick but kind of balanced car for Le Mans. That would be good, and try and just go and enjoy the whole atmosphere there. It would be brilliant.
The start was alright, but I got tagged at the back, so I think it knocked a bit of air out the back left. So I got away in the lead, but the car was oversteering, so I wasn't sure whether the tyre was going to come off or not, so we pitted for a new back left, and the car was fine afterwards immediately. But then we were in the field, so with a green flag, I think I probably could have made it more interesting. But when the safety car came out because of the crash at Eau Rouge, I got picked up and the leader didn't get picked up, so we lost basically almost a lap. And then, so I came in under the safety car and then handed a call.
Yeah, a bit frustrating, I think. Yeah, even with a change of the tyre, we probably still had the pace to come try and challenge for the lead, but the safety car ruined our chances, really.
After yesterday's events, we decided to take it pretty steady. So, if they wanted to fight over the source, then it was up to them. So we just got the car going at a steady pace on full tanks for the first time properly, and just kept the car in the right position. And today, Lady Luck looked at us the right way.
Yeah, I mean, it was mixed for all the cars on the grid. We was really nursing a damaged car with a broken exhaust. So yeah, just made sure the overtakes were clean on the GTs and bring it home. Duncan had done a fantastic job in the first stint. To hand me a fairly good car with some good tyres on. So yeah, just focus on keeping it clean.
Well done to Duncan and Bradley, who take their second win of the year, and I'm sure that will go a long way to make up for the disappointment of race 1. Let's see how the championship looks after rounds 5 and 6. Well, it's Tony Wells and Colin Noble who marginally extend their lead at the top, scoring 6 extra points over Duncan and Bradley, despite them sharing a victory each. The 4th place finish for the MechTech Norma in race 1 could prove to be the decisive moment as they look back at the end of the season. It's a strong weekend for the Red River Sports car of Bonamy Grimes and Johnny Molam, who take 2 podium places with a 2nd and a 3rd to hold on to 3rd overall, but the gap to 2nd has increased, so they're now 10 points behind. Dominic Paul's spectacular crash at Radion in race number 2 means it's another DNF, so they'll be hoping their luck changes in the championship. The cars will be back out next time at Snetterton. We hope you can join us then. That's all from Spa. Goodbye.